Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/civic center or at 505-599-1148. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly, and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Minutes past 8 o'clock. This is KSJE 90.9 FM over the air in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado. And of course, we're streaming everywhere from our website, ksje.com. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin. Thank you for tuning in this morning, and also a special welcome to our viewers who are watching the visual radio program on the KSJE Facebook page and YouTube channel. We're glad you are with us. Our topic this morning, my guest from the San Juan County Commission, Jim Crowley is here, Commissioner Crowley from District 3, and also Mike Stark, County Manager, is here. We'll be talking with them in the next few moments, so hope you'll stay tuned. We're talking a little bit about some of the things that the state legislature has decided on as they wrap up their 30-day session, which will happen around noon today in Santa Fe. So stay tuned for that conversation coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. And then later on this hour, we'll get a prep sports update from the one and only Wally D with Wally D Sports. He'll be stopping by around 8:50 a.m. this morning. Same rules apply, of course. Listen on the radio or listen on our website or tune in to the Facebook page or YouTube channel to watch us live later on this hour. Mick Hess is coming in, roving with the arts. After the news at 9 a.m., Mick is playing music from Verdi this morning. Verdi's Requiem No. 1 coming up on the program. That's at 9:06 on KSJE. Don't forget, of course, you can also follow us on Instagram and connect with us on Twitter if you're a social media person. So check us out there as well. Our weather forecast is going to be a sunny one today. Mostly sunny skies. 50 degrees for a high in San Juan County today. 28 degrees and clear overnight. Mostly sunny on Friday tomorrow with a high of 56. Maybe some increasing clouds Friday night. A low of 34. Rain showers in the forecast for the weekend. Saturday 57 with some rain showers. Maybe some rain and snow overnight Saturday with a low of 35. And more chances for rain or snow on Sunday and Monday with highs in the mid to lower 50s and overnight lows in the mid to upper 20s. And of course, we always tell you that visual radio can take you places. We'll take you to, we're talking a lot about the legislature, so we'll take you to the plaza at Santa Fe. This is a view from a few moments ago of the plaza in Santa Fe, where the current temperature is 30 degrees. A mostly cloudy morning in the state capitol, on their way to a high today of 41 and an overnight low tonight of 24, with a partly cloudy forecast in store for the state capitol. So let me introduce my guests who are here with me this morning in our studio. Commissioner Jim Crowley is here from District 3. Good morning, sir. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. Also, Mike Stark is here, County Manager. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott.
Good to have you all here this morning. And you all have been kind of tracking and watching the legislature as we have been discussing a little bit before we came on the air this morning about some of the bills that are of interest to the county. And there's some other things going on, too. And so, Mike Stark, let me talk with you a little bit about this signing ceremony that's happening later on today, you were telling me, correct?
You bet. Yes. Today, a historic event, in my opinion, with a signing ceremony with the Navajo Nation for the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, that our commission adopted Tuesday night, memorializing and kind of formalizing how the Navajo Nation, San Juan County, as well as the city of Farmington, they'll certainly play a part as well, of working collaboratively together to try to bring rail to our area. It's been a project that's been discussed many times throughout the years. It's been studied many times. I
know a lot of old timers will say we've been talking about railroads in San Juan County for 60 years, or probably more like 70 years. But we're talking about it again.
We are, and I think it's exciting because we need that collaborative effort. We need the support of the Navajo Nation, San Juan County working together to make this happen, to bring rail up from the I-40 corridor up to here. And, of course, the exact specifics and routes need to be determined, and that's what we're going to work collaboratively on, is to determine what would be the preferred route, make sure that we can get the right-of-way cleared environmentally, archaeologically, and then put us in a position where a private company or a developer says, hey, this makes sense for us to locate our business proposition opportunity here, because we know that we have a clear right-of-way, and that and then ultimately we can bring rail to the area to move our freight and goods out of the area. And so I think it's really important. And by no means, I know a lot of folks have said, well, does this mean that San Juan County or the state of New Mexico or the Navajo Nation are going to be building and funding a government-run railroad? And that's absolutely not the case. We're just laying the groundwork and the conditions for a private company to come in and do that.
I see. And having this MOU, this Memorandum of Understanding, this is the normal kind of way governments kind of work with each other, is my understanding. And as you mentioned, the city of Farmington would be probably part of this as well down the road, and some others. But it sounds like you can't do a project like this, of this scope, without involvement of the Navajo Nation and, of course, the county.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the majority of the land that the line would have to cross runs across the Navajo Nation, so they have to be an active participant in that, and want to be desirous of seeing a project of that scale happen. And let's face it, I think we all realize that there are economic headwinds in our way, and that we've got to find ways to bring good economic-based jobs to our area. Those jobs that bring dollars from elsewhere into our community, the jobs that we've had historically and still have with our 2 coal-fired power plants, with oil and gas, and of course a lot of other great economic development initiatives taking place in the county today. But it's those good economic-based jobs with good salaries, good benefits. That's what we're hoping to attract by having a rail line up to San Juan County and to the kind of metro area here. And
as I've spoken with Arvin Trujillo from Four Corners Economic Development a little bit about this, I know there are some studies underway. There have been some other studies about what would be in this train and how it would, are there enough goods and services and things like that to make it economically feasible for a company to come in and fill these train cars with whatever they're filling it with to go back and forth and things along that line, because it is an expensive project. But the idea too is it would be a regional economic driver as well. Even if it would end here in San Juan County, it would certainly lower the freight costs for a lot of businesses beyond San Juan County, and I'm looking at you, Southwest Colorado, and other places, because this would really reach across state lines, would it not? And
yeah, this would be an economic driver for the entire Four Corners region, no doubt about it. And some businesses and industries that we know exist today that would take complete advantage of having rail here to reduce their freight costs. Others that we may not even have on our radar that would develop and pop up because of the availability of rail. So no, I think it brings great potential to our area. This is the first step of many steps. There's still a long way to go. By no means does this mean that rail is going to be here in some short time frame, but it's something that had to take place, and we have to make that first step before we can finally get to the finish line. And so we're very excited about it. And looking forward to work collaboratively together with everyone to make it happen. And again, the official signing ceremony is taking place today. Today, yes, at 12 o'clock at the San Juan College School of Energy. Just down the street over here, We'll have the president of the Navajo Nation and the vice president here. Very good. Commissioner Crowley, I mean, your thoughts about rail? I mean, you might remember some of these other conversations, not that you're old enough, but that it's been going on for a number of times. Let me take my loafer out of my mouth here as we ask the question, but we have been talking about this for a long time in the county, have we not, about rail?
We have one of our biggest problems with our natural gas is we don't have a buyer. So what do we do with our natural gas? Well, literally it could be liquid on the train leaving, or it could be a petrochemical plant which makes plastic pellets on a freight car leaving. And so we're exporting things as well as nappy. I mean, we had the potato chip factory that didn't come in because the transportation costs were too high. We could be exporting frac sand. That's just some of the things that already pretty much exist, and the petrochemical plant would be up and running quickly and easily. There's one in Hobbs that's part of what they do with the excess gas that's down there.
And that's why we're talking petrochemical, because it would be kind of part of the byproduct of the natural gas that we have in abundance here in the basin.
Yes, and so largely, I mean, I think it's probably close to 90% of the natural gas can be made into petrochemical plastic pellets.
Right.
And so that's a great amount, and that we have to have something. We know that the pendulum is swinging to axe all coal-fired production of electricity. So we have to act fast, and I'm hoping when I go next month to Washington to float an idea, which is to ask our federal government to partner with us, kind of like a pilot project with the Navajo Nation and with our area, where we're showing that the new NEPA regulations, which are reduced from a 10-year plan to a 2-year plan, can be, tabled here and shown across the nation that this is what it does for economic development when you streamline EPA regulations. So I'm hoping to have some impact with that, and I'm just going to pitch that with them when I get there at the Department of Interior.
Okay. Well, let us know how that goes.
Yes.
So good luck to you with that. And as I have thought too, as you build this infrastructure of this rail line, and it's an expensive proposition, but I would assume that no one's really talked about the type of trains that would be running on this thing, and the idea it could be electric, could be environmentally friendly, it could be some other technology that we haven't figured out yet. But once you have the tracks down, that's really the first part of it, and then whatever type of train runs on it could be something to discuss at a later time, but it could be something that's more maybe environmentally friendly or certainly more modern than maybe the type of train that folks think about. So that's my other point about that. Let's talk about the state legislature. And so, Mike Stark, the legislature will wrap up today after its 30-day session, and they have a budget, as far as we know.
They do, as of last night.
At the early hours, right?
Earlier hours. The House got it back from the Senate and approved the Senate amendments. So,
okay. And that's normal. It's
$6 billion budget for next year.
Right. So another increase over last year. And again, we're seeing lots of revenue coming in. Again, thank you, energy industry. I mean, that's really where much of it, if not most of it, is coming from. And the southeast corner of the state. I wish it was the northwest corner, but what are you going to do? But that's what we have at the state level, and so there's more money to go around. And so, how is San Juan County faring in this new budget? At least before the governor, she now gets to look it over and can decide if she wants to line item veto anything. But if she doesn't, this is what the budget is.
Sure. No, it's we did quite well actually with our capital outlay priorities that we submitted. With some transportation dollars that were included, and those are in separate bills. So capital outlay is a separate bill from the budget. The budget is HB 2, House Bill 2.
Okay.
And that collectively handles the functions of state government. Occasionally there are some one-time earmarks in there for certain projects, but generally a lot of the capital projects are covered within the capital outlay bill. Those can be a combination of just any capital projects, including transportation. And then there's a separate transportation bill, Senate Bill 232 this year, that ended up capturing some road dollars that get distributed to the state as well as the local counties and municipalities. And so we did quite well from a capital outlay perspective. I think I shared with you previously when the listeners and viewers previously that our number one priority this year for San Juan County was radio infrastructure upgrades to our radio tower system. That's the system that provides communications for all of our public safety agencies.
Right, that's for sheriff's office and the fire departments and things along that, the dispatch center, of course, and as folks maybe think about it, that maybe in the northern part of the county we're pretty well covered, but when you start traveling maybe south and into some of the nooks and crannies, as we have some hills and mountains around here, that's where communication becomes a little more spotty, and so important in times of emergency to be able to have radio contact with dispatch to get either more help or different help or whatever you need, right?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, think about a law enforcement officer who's out chasing somebody in the middle of nowhere. The last thing you want is for that officer to lose contact with dispatch, because that's their lifeline for asking for backup help, for conveying the details on the scene. So no, it's critical, and we have a huge county in terms of
We do. That's right.
square mileage, 5,500 square miles. We're larger than 2 states in the District of Columbia, so that's a real challenge for us to be able to cover all of that ground with our communication system, and we've done that throughout time. We actually end up being the kind of the model and benchmark for the state on how to collectively do that. Certainly with our consolidated, or 911 consolidated dispatch center,
Right.
bringing all the entities together. This request was supported by everyone. Didn't matter if it was Aztec, Bloomfield, Farmington, Kirtland, San Juan County. We all collectively know how important this is, and so we're excited about that because that's going to help put new technology in place and keep us current as technology is always evolving and changing.
So I've been told, as we've added video cameras to a radio station. Yes, exactly. That's right. But it is important. And again, that communication in times of emergency is so crucial for your first responders, for sure.
Yeah, we also received, just heading down the list.
Let me stop you there for a minute. I think Commissioner Crowley wanted to make a point about emergency services. Commissioner
Yes,
Crowley?
one of the things that's emerging is that at the 911 call center and people with cell phones, there's a way to track that. And this is technology going across, and this is part of the forerunner of us being able to track people. So you have a 911 call, it's dropped, something happens, it's a critical situation, you can pinpoint where they are. And so this is important for the future, and particularly in such a rural county as we are. So that's part of what this whole process will do for us.
Nice. That's important. That's a good point, I think, too. And again, right, because many times in times of an accident, maybe you're not able to tell the dispatcher where you are. You maybe don't know where you are. I'm just on the highway. It's dark and I don't know where I am. And they can maybe use that technology to triangulate your position to get the help you need there quick.
Yes.
And that's what you were talking about. So thank you. Thank you for that. Mike Stark, what else is on the list that hopefully will be coming to the county?
Well, I say we received. We haven't received anything yet. I just want to clarify that.
Hoping to receive.
We're hoping to receive.
Yes, agreed.
Obviously the governor has until March 11th to take action on any of the bills that come before her. So we'll know for certain then as to where things stand.
And from last year, I don't know if she vetoed too many things that were in the budget that was passed last year. So by prior example, maybe we can infer that perhaps there won't be too many changes to this budget, but never say never when it comes to politics, I guess.
That's correct. That's correct. But another priority for us, as you know, is film and trying to expand the presence of the film industry here and put the infrastructure in place to make that a reality. We received, we're hoping to receive another $500,000 on top of the $1 million we received last year, and we think that will really allow us to develop a film studio, to develop a backlot location here in San Juan County, and hope to have some good news on that March 11th at our next county commission meeting. So we look forward to sharing that with the public then.
And that's exciting because, the state is spending a lot of effort and a lot of money on these incentives to the film industry. They actually have even more of an incentive to have these film companies work outside of the Rio Grande corridor. And so by having this infrastructure up here, what you're talking about, in addition to the $1 million that you got last year, this $1.5 million, that's important for folks maybe to have this infrastructure and this new thing of the backlot to be able to have maybe this rural setting, or I don't know what you're thinking of, but have a place where crews can come and set up and film in the landscape that is San Juan County. Is that the idea, Commissioner Crowley? Is that your understanding?
Yes, we have gone to great lengths to get a share of this pie that the governor's carved out last year in her initiative of $200 million, and to try to divert some of it up here, because when a film production comes in, they do drop a lot of money, and so that helps our businesses, and it does provide some short-term temporary jobs, at least at some level. And so we're excited to be able to utilize the grant money that we received, where it was earmarked last year, to complete the process of a place, and we are qualified now for the extra 5% credit that film industry gets by coming here. So it's just it's a small drop in the bucket of economic development. So we'll take whatever pieces we can get.
Sure. Well, again, as we talk about expanding the economy and looking for these new types of jobs and things like that, and economic diversity. This is part of it. We have a comment on Facebook that I just want to call attention to. The person says that AAA's had cell phone location technology for years. When you call, they tell you exactly where you are, and I think that might be true. But if there's not 3 towers to triangulate your position, that's where the issue kind of comes into play, and they may not be able to accurately know where you are, at least within a few feet of what we're talking about. But I appreciate the question. Thank you very much for watching this morning, and that's why we do this, so that folks can chime in on Facebook. So thank you for doing that. In addition to the movie industry, so what else is coming up, Mike Stark?
We also hoping to receive the East Culpeper Flats regional water line project. That's a project that would extend the North Star system north of Aztec, leave it a potential opportunity for a tie-in at some point to the Upper La Plata Water Users Association system on the west side of the county, but also serve a subdivision today that's without water. That's a project that has received previous funding. We'll soon be at a 60% design standard, and so this $2 million will help to finish that project. That was a request separately brought forth by North Star and by the East Culpeper Flats Mutual Water domestic group to help finish that project off. So that's a good project too. And then our hospital, which a lot of folks don't realize, that's at least the main campus is owned by the taxpayers of San Juan County. So
that's right. That's true. And you have a pretty good lease deal, or the hospital has a pretty good lease deal.
It is a good lease deal for 99
campus.
Years. I believe we're in year 70 or so.
Okay.
So any dollars that come in for that portion of the hospital, we end up administering those and working with the hospital collectively. $2.2 million for their rehab facility renovations, and then they also had in there another $1.3 million for a chiller project, improvements and upgrades there.
That's kind of
I
like
believe some electrical improvements as well.
air conditioning, I suppose, and things like that. Is that what that would be?
That's correct. That's air conditioning on a bigger scale.
On a bigger scale, when you have a chiller. We have chillers here at the college, I know, too. So, yeah.
It's not a swamp cooler or a rooftop HVAC unit.
Right.
It's a unit that can chill and cool the entire hospital, which is quite a few square feet.
Significant. That's true. So, and if you're not feeling well and you're in a muggy room, you definitely would appreciate a chiller working efficiently. So that's what we're talking about, an improvement over there. That's great. And there's some road projects too that are part of the budget that the county will get some money to maintain or improve some county roads.
Correct. And you know, I just with all of this, and certainly with roads specifically too, but we certainly want to give a shout out to all of our legislators here locally that really support us and go above and beyond the call of duty to meet our needs, and they're battling for us all the time with all the entities up here. And so, you know, these road projects that we end up receiving were extra dollars that we didn't receive last year. So they went to bat for us. And so within Senate Bill 232, the transportation bill, quite a few bucks associated with improvement of roads collectively across all the entities up here. And so very much appreciative of that, because that will go a long way in helping to offset the road maintenance costs. Ironically, Tuesday night, our commission approved our annual road certification of mileage to the state, and 737 miles of road that we're responsible at San Juan County for maintaining. So receiving dollars to maintain and upgrade our roads is very important, because that's a huge network of roads that we're responsible for.
Definitely is a lot of miles that you're talking about, for sure. And we were talking about one of the bridges too earlier before we came on the air this morning. Is there money in there for that
there is
troublesome bridge that I guess has a pretty dubious ranking in our state?
Yes, unfortunately, the 5 Mile Bridge, which is located on County Road 4990 in the Largo Canyon area, it's used for residential traffic in that area, industry traffic for oil and gas. It's not a real high volume bridge in terms of traffic, but it is a key part of the infrastructure and transportation system down there. We hope to receive, I got to keep clarifying myself.
You're just thinking positively.
I am
Mike
thinking
Stark,
positively.
So that's okay.
You
No
bet
one
I
can
am.
argue with that.
$150,000 to have an alternative study done to determine what's the best way. In the event that bridge were to close, the dubious ranking you were referring to, that it's unfortunately the worst rated bridge in the state, not because of the structure, but because of the approaches to the bridge. Sitting right in the middle of a very large wash, it's difficult to maintain a bridge that only covers about a fifth of the wash. So
right, and
when
then you have
it
those
rains,
approaches.
it rains hard and it flows with a lot of intensity, and we're just always susceptible to washouts in that area. And so,
Well, and we've seen some warnings from the county in previous years of high water and things like that. They've had to close that bridge on occasion because of safety concerns, and until the water subsides, and then you're able to kind of inspect it and see how things look. And this is what we're talking about.
exactly.
So this money would fund a study for maybe an alternative or something else.
It would look at all the alternatives. We recently had a public meeting in the area to receive feedback from the citizens, and a lot of different alternatives were mentioned. Of course, we need to look at what would be the most cost-effective way to replace it, and then the study also lays the groundwork for us being able to and be eligible to apply for federal and state funding, because that's going to probably be a big component to funding a project of that magnitude.
Well, and we know how expensive the bridge project was in Lee Acres, and that's certainly not as big as this one that we're talking about. So I would assume the price would increase exponentially.
It actually would be more expensive than the bridge in Lee Acres because of the span.
Right.
So, for example, if you were to replace the bridge as it exists today and truly span the entire distance of the Largo Wash, previous estimates had it that it would be a $25 million bridge project to cover the expanse of the Largo Wash. So that obviously is not the right solution. It's just not economic.
Right.
And so that's hence the need to have alternatives studied, because I don't think that's going to be the solution that would be supported by in any layer of government.
Sure. Interesting. Commissioner Crowley, again, this is an important discussion to have, I guess, about some of this infrastructure in the county. And again, we've got this one bridge in particular, but other roads too that need to be maintained, and perhaps there's some other options in having it a bridge, and maybe you can improve a road from some other direction to get to the same place.
It looks like that when we get that study in, we'll have a better idea. I know as a commissioner, this is one of the biggest things we get calls about or emails about, which is, can you fix my road? And so we have designations of county maintained, lesser county maintained, and people think just because it's a county road that has a number, which is necessary for addressing, that we're responsible to take care of it. And so there's only so much money, and then there's the argument, well, I pay my taxes. Well, you can look at the amount of your property tax, and you can get about 3 square foot out of that.
Right.
Maybe that's a little facetious, but it's a drop in the bucket of what it takes to maintain the traffic flow and the road infrastructure.
Right. I know the county maintains a good list of what roads are county maintained, and maybe what county roads are privately maintained. And if you're thinking of buying a piece of property or moving or looking around, you might want to know what your road is before you make that investment, I would suppose. But that's a good point. Very good. And Mike Stark, that's pretty much most of the major projects, right, that are contained in the state budget for the county, for San Juan County?
Well, yes, but however, we're excited. We've talked about this previously, the Behavioral Health Initiative. There are commissions pursuing the Intervention Demonstration Program grant money that we received last year that went to 7 counties, more rural counties in the state, to assist with reducing the recidivism associated with reincarceration of citizens in our area. So that program currently exists today. We received $493,000 last year. Within House Bill 2, we understand that there's another appropriation for next year, so that would make the 7 counties that participated this year eligible again for funding. So we're excited about that because that's a program that's proven to be successful. It's still in its early stages, and we're still trying to accumulate the data to show that it is effective in helping to divert folks from ending up at the jail. But we anticipate another $450,000 associated with that program to keep that initiative going.
Very good. And we just have a minute or so remaining this morning. Commissioner Crowley, is there anything from the legislature that you are particularly pleased about, or at least they got some attention this year?
I followed a lot of it online, as well as being there and trying to be in committee meetings, trying to be in the gallery at times, and then down with our legislators. And
You really like seeing how that sausage is made, Commissioner?
it's just nice to be on some of the inside track of how things are going.
Sure.
And I appreciate our legislators, and they're approachable, they're available, and particularly to us who are elected officials, even in the middle of when things are going on. So when we need to make a point, they're so available to us, and they work as a concerted effort. So when we have issues that are often contact your legislature, it's really contact your family and friends who are in other areas of the country, of the state,
Right.
outside of our county, where their people can make a difference with their legislatures.
Right. And I think we've heard before, too, how the delegation from San Juan County tends to work together when it comes to capital outlay and some of these other things that kind of pool their voices and even their resources if they have some money is assigned to them to try to put forth some of these projects that would benefit the most constituents in the area, I think. At least that's how it's been described to me.
Well, and the School of Energy with the private sector also is an excellent example of that. 5 years ago, maybe?
Here at San Juan College, right?
Yes, and because that wouldn't have happened, and people don't really understand the scope of what the School of Energy does. I mean, they do a lot of instrumentation that's not just oil and gas. It's
true.
water. It's other things that people can come really from across the nation to a place that can train them to operate facilities.
Right. And learn how to do that.
Yes.
Efficiently, that's true. And I know there was a big chunk of private money that helped with that School of Energy project as well, which I think is why the state was so willing to put in some public money, because they knew they weren't paying for the whole thing, that there was a public-private partnership, as we say.
Yes.
So there you go. Well, gentlemen, we're out of time, but I appreciate you both coming in this morning to talk about the state budget and the legislature, and again, this exciting idea of rail in San Juan County. I know it's still a long ways off, but these are the first steps, and it's exciting to be part of it, I think, and to hear how things are going.
We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You bet. You're always welcome here. Thank you very much, both of you.
Always good to see you, Scott.
Mike Stark and Jim Crowley from San Juan County, my guests here on KSJE, everyone. Back with more in just a moment. The time right now is 8:42. KSJE is supported by the University of Denver Graduate School of Social Work Four Corners program. They're proud to offer a Master's of Social Work degree in the Four Corners community. Applications for the 2020-2022 cohort is now open. Classes are taught Fridays and Saturdays in Durango, Colorado. Find out more at 970-247-9773 or at du.edu/socialwork/fourcorners.
The European